Welcome, Gemini, to your July Moon Magic Deep Dive forecast for the ascendant, the sun, or the moon. July has an enormous amount of unique celestial influences, but at the heart of it is the power and impact of the moon. I'm going to unpack the month from that lunar perspective, and by the end of the video, you have a clear picture of what's upcoming in terms of your vitality, work, relationships, and finances. Thank you so much for joining me, astrologer Patrick Arundel. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, please do so now to help it to continue to thrive. So on the screen, first of all, is the Capricorn full moon at the end of June, because that provides a backdrop energy for 2 weeks, which takes us through to the new moon at the heart of July in Cancer. And the big takeout is all about balancing the ins and outgoings around finances. We have those everyday costs, and we have the things where we're more mindful of the future. It can also be about where we share resources, or we're in, say, a business partnership. But T-square in that particular event was the mystical energies of Neptune. So the big takeout for you in the first 2 weeks of this new month is clarity is going to be at a premium, particularly because your ruler Mercury is in a retrograde through that entire 2 week period. And that itself can push you to review and perhaps think about ways in which you could squeeze a bit more out of your resources. But that energy of Neptune, especially if you are working collaboratively with anyone else, can create a little bit of confusion. So very, very important to make sure that you really pierce through the fog to get to what the facts clearly are. That brings us through to the quarter moon. We get 2 quarter moons a month, this one in Aries, and it's on the 7th. And quarter moons are when the sun and the moon are at 90 degrees. It creates a tension for sure. And for you, the moon in Aries is in a conjunction with Saturn, and they're both in that square with the sun. If there is someone that you're needing to work with, perhaps in a group situation, or you are thinking about a longer term plan, this particular quarter moon over the following week is definitely saying to you that you need to be absolutely realistic in your approach. Because if you do develop a rather idealistic hope, it could get crushed. This is quite a challenging quarter moon, to be honest. And it may show up because your values and someone that you are aligned to, such as a group of people or a friend, are just not chiming. And there may need to be a real consciousness about that. But do see also on this event that you have Mars and Uranus conjunct in your own zodiac sign, and they are linking very powerfully to Pluto. So if there was something you weren't enjoying, that gives you a lot of encouragement to liberate yourself from it. Don't feel that you have no choices. The new moon at the heart of the month is in Cancer. Its favorite new moon as far as the moon's concerned, because it rules the sign. And for sure, Mercury, your ruler, is very close to the pair, suggesting, because of the conjunction and the Cazimi, which occurs on the 13th, that if you rethink something, you may see it in a new and fresh way, which can be advantageous to you. But just be conscious that Mercury, your ruler, is in a square with Saturn. So once again, you're being asked to take your future plans when it comes to money very seriously indeed, particularly where you are collaborating. But Uranus in your sign is in a challenging right angle to Venus. Once again, giving you encouragement. If you're not enjoying something, it isn't working, then you have the right to spin out and do your own thing to liberate yourself. That brings us to the second quarter of the moon of the month. It's in your opposite sign of Libra. And the unique thing here is that when the sun moved into Cancer on the solstice, we had a quarter moon in Libra. So as the sun's preparing to leave Cancer, the quarter moon in Libra. And there's the moon. But for you, it's in the part of your chart that's to do with being affectionate, warmth, and very sociable. And that square with the sun could see you be very generous to someone you like. But let's look at the role of Mars in your zodiac sign. It's in a very stable link with Saturn, to be fair, but it is in a square with Venus. And it's going to be clashing with Venus through to the end of the month. So you may find yourself being a bit more frustrated. Perhaps it would be with someone at home, a flatmate, maybe around the family budget. You might find it more difficult to not say how you feel and be more direct about that. But equally, you could be quite gregarious with your resources on this particular event. That brings us through to the Aquarius full moon, which occurs on the 29th, but it's a day when we do also have a Jupiter Cazimi, and that hasn't happened since 2015. Your word power, persuasion, but brilliant ideas are absolutely going to radiate out as this month draws to a close. But with Pluto in an opposition to the Sun and Jupiter, and in a conjunction with the moon, if you encounter someone who has very different philosophies or a different worldview to you, or perhaps in a contractual situation who's not as availing as you are to perhaps finding some kind of mutual way forwards, it could create a very powerful standoff. And guess what? Mars in the square to Venus. And we also have the square between Saturn and Mercury, which, although now traveling forwards, it's repeating that square because of the retrograde it's gone through. So the big picture of this month really is that when it comes to your unique talent for communication, downloading information, propagating it in a brilliant, sparkling way, the last 10 days give you lots of encouragement. But there is a more pragmatic energy through the first phase of this month, the first 2/3, and it is very much about asking you to marshal your resources carefully, know your value, but particularly around group or friendship situations, or if you're planning some kind of future investment, really be very, very thorough indeed, particularly with that Mercury retrograde. I'm going to summarize those 4 areas of energy, work, relationships, and finances next, Gemini. But just to say, I've slashed the price of my personal horoscope reports. For many years, it was buy two, get 30% off. Because of the cost of living increases, I'm trying to make them as accessible as possible. So it's now buy one and get 3. You get your life roadmap report, which helps us to understand our patterns in life, your free 12 months transit forecast, and your 3 draconic soul karmic analysis. Please see below for more. If you've yet to watch your Jupiter into Leo 13-month forecast, please see the eye on the screen. You can also watch your July general forecast with all those other unique planetary influences by clicking on that too. If you'd like to work with me one-to-one, it'd be an absolute pleasure. Please see my testimonials below. And if you've yet to sign up for your free daily written horoscope via your device each morning, you can do that below too as well. Have a great July. Thank you so much for joining me, and all the best.